Friday evening. It's Linda Therapist, and I'm glad to be with you today. This is the end of the week. This is the end of something and the beginning of something good. If you don't mind, I want to introduce my special guest, and this is Ruth Miller Shockley. Ruth, welcome to If You Don't Mind.
Thank you, Sister Lynn. So good to be here, praising God for one more day and another opportunity.
There you go. There you go. All praises to him. And you know what? Ruth is not she is very well known to me. We have been doing this together for a couple of years. We've been doing domestic violence and programs around here. And Ruth is also an advocate, Orange County. So we just want to thank her. And what we're on here today to do is just to give you some knowledge about domestic violence. This is going to be a series because there are so many people suffering with it. And you know what? The first thing you might say is, well, I don't know why they're into that situation. Please don't judge. Don't judge because you don't know what you would do until you're in that situation. It
That's right.
affects you physically, psychologically. There are so many aspects. So today is just the psychoeducation that we're going to give you about domestic violence and how it can affect. And some people might say, well, it's only physical. No, it's not. So we're going to start today with just the what is domestic violence. And domestic violence takes place within a household that can be between any two people in that dwelling. Domestic violence can also occur between a parent and child, siblings, or even roommates. People don't realize that a child can be physically abusive to a parent or emotionally abusive. So, intimate partner violence can only occur between romantic partners who may or may not be living together in the same household. So when we talk about domestic violence, let's break it down. And Ruth, I know you know this working with Orange County in this. First, we're going to start with the physical violence, okay? That's when a person hits or hurts or tries to hurt a partner by hitting, kicking, or using another type of physical force. Then we have the sexual violence. Oh, yeah. We're living in a sexual era. So this is the sexual violence, and it is forcing or attempting to force a partner to take part in a sex act, sexual touching, or a non-physical sexual event, such as sexting, which, if you don't know, that
Say,
is an offense. You make sure that you are not taking that picture and passing it on. When the partner does not or cannot consent. So sexual violence is you're doing it against your will. And then there's the stalking. Oh, yeah,
mm,
there's the
yes,
stalking. And that is a
yes.
pattern of repeated, unwanted attention and contact by a partner that
Mhm.
uses fear or concern for one's own safety or the safety of someone close to the victim. So, you know what? I always learned growing up in New York, always watch your surroundings. Let me look. Let me also check my surroundings. And then there's psychological aggression. And that
Mm,
is the use of verbal and nonverbal communication with the intent to harm a partner mentally or emotionally or to exert control over a partner. Bottom line, domestic violence is all about power and control. And Ruth, I know
yes,
you got something to say about
yes,
that, don't you?
yes, I do. And let me say, you've been doing your studying and your homework, my sis.
Thank you.
God bless you. And I always like to keep it simple. Um, and I like to give some type of demonstration or illustration that perhaps will stick in someone's mind. And some years ago, this power wheel was constructed. And
Yes.
I don't know if you can see it enough, but it's a
No, it's your
power
background.
wheel.
Your background is
Okay.
preventing it, but that's okay. They can
The-
pull it up online. Go to the
You can
domestic
pull it
violence.
up online. Yes. And what this power wheel demonstrates is power and control that can be exerted either by physical or emotional abuse. And what happens is that intimate partner uses physical or emotional abuse to control you and exert their power over you,
Mhm.
thereby taking away your power.
Yes.
You mentioned some very, very good ones, but there's also economic abuse.
Mhm.
Imagine when someone prevents you from accessing a job, or if you have a job, from getting to your job, making you ask for money all of the time, giving you an allowance. There's other type of coercion and threats that people can use against you. They're minimizing, denying, and blaming. They use isolation against you. What does that mean? That means keeping you away from your family, keeping you away from your friends, so that you don't have a chance to discuss these issues with you. There's so many different types of abuse that some of them go unnoticed, and some people truly believe that they have no choice but to continue in that situation. And that is not true. There is help available.
Yes, there is. And I want to thank you for breaking that down because that's what this is all about. We give you the psychoeducation. Our
Yes,
people perish for lack of knowledge. So we want to educate
yes,
you on what domestic violence is. And now we got to get to the causes. You know what?
yes,
The causes, usually abusive behavior, will start very subtly and gradually and can become continuous over time, while the possible causes of the violence may be as complex as warning signs. Research trusted suggests much of domestic violence behavior is learned. Yes, children who witness it, it is a
yes.
learned behavior. They're growing up with unhealthy relationship dynamics. And you know what? That can do a lot to them. And we'll get into the psychological, the aggression and things that manifest in children from living and witnessing a domestic violence situation. Growing up thinking physical or psychological violence are acceptable ways to solve conflict. And it's not. It is not. Dispute resolution practices are the way to solve the conflicts. The need for control, and as we said, it's all about control. So
And
you
the
also,
exertion of power,
yes,
control, and the exertion of power over another. People who abuse their partners, let's look at it this way, they use all of these tactics either one at a time, continually increasing over a period of time, or they may use them in concert with one another. Do you know some abusers have even taken to abusing their partner's pet as a means to control them, to incite fear in them. And it's also a way of strengthening their own authority, their own power, as they exert this power over their individual people. People abuse their partners for a variety of reasons, and they do it in a variety of ways. Can I shoot something at you, Lynn,
sure.
and folks? About 1 in 3 women
Hmm.
and 1 in 10 men will experience domestic violence or
Yes.
some form of physical or emotional abuse in their lifetime. Victims of domestic violence lose a total of 8 million days. Think of that, of paid work each year. And this is alarming. 15.5 million children witness and also experience secondhand violence as a result of domestic abuse. This is not something that we should turn our heads away from. This is not something when your friend calls you and says that her partner is abusing her or doing something to her that makes her feel threatened or less than. This is the time to say, let me see if I can help you. What would you like to do? And these are three key words. Are you safe?
Yes. 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 That's the most important thing.
Are
Are
you
you
safe?
safe? Are you
Are you
safe? Yes.
safe?
Yes.
Are you
And that
safe?
is so important. And, I just want to tag off of your statistics because I also wrote some down as well. And did you know in the United States, nearly 1 in 2 women and more than 2 in 5 men reported experiencing intimate partner violence at some point in their lifetime? More than 16 million people in the US suffer from intimate partner abuse. One
Yes.
in four men endured, listen to this. 1 in 4 men in the United States endured severe physical violence from an intimate partner. See, people think it's just women, but men
Exactly.
are not as likely to report it because it's them, it's their pride and things of that nature. Over 47% of women have encountered contact sexual violence, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner during their lifetime. And then when we look at Florida, Florida
Oh,
has an incident rate of over 100,000 incidents of domestic violence, according to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Victim demographics, approximately 70% of reported victims, and that is something. The fatalities in 2021, there were 145 domestic violence related homicides in Florida. Now, imagine that's 2021. And that was the time that we had the pandemic. And as a therapist, I was concerned about some of the clients who were stuck in that situation with lockdown. So you think about that. And the law enforcement response, police departments across the state respond to thousands of domestic violence calls each year, with many leading to arrest. And there are hotlines that we're going to get into. But I wanted to go back, Ruth, and I'm sure that you can attest to this. Some of the causes, because you work directly with it, some of the causes for that power and control could be less access to education, personality disorders, substance use, cultural attitudes, gender ideologies, low self esteem, struggling with anger management, and insecurity. You know, if you really look at it, it is just something. Even rape, 9% of women and 5% of men report rape, sexual violence, stalking, severe physical violence. It is so. How do we stop this?
yes.
How do we stop it?
According according to the CDC, since you mentioned rape, 1 in 4 women and only 1 in 26 men have experienced completed rape, not just attempted rape or a
Rape.
sexual assault, completion of rape. But in order to answer your question without going too far off course, people have to stand up for themselves. They have to realize that they deserve to be treated better. They do not deserve to have people emotionally abusing them and belittling them or gaslighting them. They do not deserve to have bruises or broken bones.
Mhm.
Why would you want to be in a relationship where you're always in terror, where you're always afraid to say something? Oh, well, that will upset them. Oh, no, if I do this, I'm going to get hit. Oh, no, well, no, I can't go out after work with my office mates because they'll get upset with me. If you're in a relationship and you're prevented from being with your friends, from being around your family, go and seek help. What do? You go and you tell somebody. If you don't feel close enough to anyone within your peer group or your family, guess what? There are hotlines that you can call for assistance. And in most states, as here in Florida, they have what they call domestic violence advocates.
Mhm.
These individuals, such as myself, we can walk you through the legal steps and the legal paperwork so that you can get help. You can get protection. Many people don't take these steps, Lynn. Number one, because some of them are emotionally bound to
Yes.
these
Yes.
individuals.
Yes.
Some of
Yes.
them are afraid of changing their financial situation.
Yes.
Some of them, well, if I do this, I'm going to lose my apartment. I can't afford to live by myself. I can't take care of my children by myself. That's why advocacy works, because advocacy not only gets you the legal protections that you need, but there are also numerous resources so that if you need to be relocated, either within the state of Florida or outside of Florida, you can get money for relocation. If you need immediate protection and that individual perhaps needs to be removed, you can call and a police officer will come and escort that individual from your home. If you need an injunction for protection, okay, a restraining order, these are the types of services available through advocacy that we can help you with. The paperwork, imagine coming out of a situation where perhaps you've been up all night, you've gotten a busted lip, okay, you haven't eaten, but then you're met at the courthouse with a stack of papers,
Yes.
up to 72 pages. No one would feel like filling out that information. Unfortunately, it must be done and completed as close to its entirety. Otherwise, it won't get through the court clerk. But that's what advocates do. We take
Oh,
away some of these stumbling blocks for individuals and we let them know that you can get help and you can get out of it.
that's awesome, Ruth. You know what? That alone, because if I was on the courthouse and I needed help and I had 72 pages, I know for me, my tolerance is that I would be like, I don't have time for this. I have to get
Exactly.
to work. I have to do this. That would be too much. So I love what
Right.
you do as an advocate and walk them through. There's so many
That's
questions that people have, you know,
right.
so
Right.
many questions. And right then and there, is there protection guaranteed basically to put them in a safe place or, getting that order of protection? What is the next step after filling out that paperwork? How soon?
There are cases, Lynn, that are of such a nature that not only are they given shelter immediately, and I'm going to talk about that too, but their paperwork is put straight through so that they can get a temporary, a TRO, a temporary order of protection.
Okay.
So that means as soon as you walk outside of that courthouse, you're protected. The police officers and other agencies within your area, they know about it. Where you work, they're notified about it. And see, these are things people don't think about sometimes. Okay. There is an area where that individual is not allowed to come. And if they come within that area, all you have to do is pick up a phone. And if you cannot get to a phone, and this is important, we tell individuals too, keep your paperwork on you so that if you have to walk into a CVS and go up to a clerk and say, I'm in danger, I need help, show them your paperwork. And let me be clear, you do not have to have it with you. Sometimes we must tell people this because this is what we're told to do. But if individuals need help nowadays, it is so widespread and these abuses are so rampant. You can walk into a CVS and go to a clerk and say, I'm in need of assistance. I'm being threatened. I'm being stalked.
Mhm.
I need to speak to a police officer. Oh, I need to speak to an advocate. They will help you. It's not as closed and what's the word? There's no stereotype about it.
Yeah.
People did not report these things many, many years ago. You know, people say, oh, well, what goes on in this house
Stays
stays in this house.
gone. That's gone.
This brings about a cycle
Yeah.
because then, as a young woman or young man, you think that this is normal. You think that, well, this is the way it's supposed to be. So when they move on and they mature, and they get involved in relationships with people, guess what? They think that this is the norm and that nothing is wrong with this.
Yes. Yes.
And there are so many other ways to protect yourself. You know, we have to tell people, Lynn, to get your car checked out. And there are places where the nearest police station can tell you where to go or they can do it for you. Get your car checked for bugs and trackers.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. That's a big thing now, the trackers. That's a big thing.
Yes. And guess what? Even your phone.
Your location.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They can, there you go. They can monitor your location. They can monitor your phone calls. And even now on computers, okay, they can track and plug into your what do you call it?
Social
Your
media.
social, right, right. Your Facebook account, okay? We tell individuals when it comes to your work. This is how people lose their jobs. Go to your human resources director, go to your supervisor, tell them about your situation. Okay, if there's a security guard in the building where you work, let them know what your partner's car looks like. Give them the license plate number so that once you file that paperwork in court and whether or not you've received your order, once you've done that, you are automatically given these protections. And one more thing I want to say about shelter, and I tell this to individuals, no one likes the negative imagery that we see on television when it comes to shelters. They don't look like they're a happy place. They don't look like they're a safe place. But I tell individuals, don't you want to have a good night's sleep? Don't you want to be able, if you have children, to take your children with you and know that you and your children are going to sleep safe that night? Do not give in to the negative imagery of shelter. And as I said, if you're looking to relocate, they will help you relocate within the state that you live in, or they can help you move outside of the state. So there is assistance available, but you must step forward.
That's awesome. That is such valuable
Yes.
info. And, we're going to next week. This is a series that we're doing on domestic violence because it encompasses so much. And
Yes.
as, Ruth just said, there's so much info that we're going to be talking to you. Please, 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 if you have that friend or you know somebody that's struggling with domestic violence, they don't know what to do. Well, you know what? Here's your expert right here. Ruth
See,
will be able to
see.
advise and tell you the process. And I also want to talk about briefly for the next 5 minutes about the psychological effects. There's anxiety. You're
Yeah,
very anxious because you don't know if you're going to get hit. You're
right.
hypersensitive. You're, always looking if somebody's coming up on you. Then there is the depression. You don't know how to get out. One negative thought is going to spiral down into a bunch of negativity, and constantly you are caught in this cycle of depression. And you're in that deep, dark hole and you don't know what to do. And then there's the trauma. Then there is the repeated, the post traumatic stress disorder, that PTSD. You're traumatized day
Yes,
in and day out. You go to
yes,
work and you can't do your job properly because you're always thinking about the trauma. You're anxious, you're hypersensitive if someone comes to your desk or you get a phone call, you don't know if it's, your abuser. It's so much involved with it. So today we just wanted to give you the education around it. And being Christians, we want to let you know what God says about domestic violence. God's plans for families depict marriage as one flesh, helping relationship and mutual submission. Marriage is an image of Christ in the church. That's
yes,
how he looks at it.
yes.
And
Loving,
domestic violence,
caring,
yes,
protective.
yes,
Yes, yes,
domestic
yes,
violence hurts the heart of God and is a
yes.
far cry of the character of Jesus. So it saddens him to see his queen or his king going through this violence. Jesus told his disciples that because of what this world is, we will face trials. And
Yes,
he said that in John 16:33. Through our trials and sufferings, we have an opportunity to draw closer to God. The Bible says, draw near to God and he will draw nigh to you. So
yes,
sometimes we
yes.
don't know what to do. Utter three words: Jesus, Jesus,
Jesus,
Jesus.
Jesus,
When you do
Jesus.
that, he's going to hear your cry
Yes,
and he will answer you. So in Proverbs
yes.
133, and this is the NIV version, it says, "But whoever listens to me will live in safety and be at ease without fear."
Hallelujah,
And then Psalms
hallelujah.
107 says, "Then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them out of their distress." A domestic violence
See,
situation is pure
see,
distress. Then in
see.
Psalms 91, 4 through 6, he will cover you with his pinions, and under his wings you will
Yes,
find refuge.
yes,
I want you to think about the wing of God, and you're up under it just as safe, and that's what he will
yes,
do for you. His faithfulness is a shield and a buckler. So think
yes,
about that shield that you have right there. You're up
yes,
under that wing, but you also have that
yes,
shield. And
yes,
you will not fear the terror of the night. You won't fear because it's
yes.
getting dark outside. Because you know what? Nor the arrow that flies by day,
Was by
nor
day,
the
the
pestilence that stalks
pestilence.
in
Yeah,
darkness,
come on, come
nor the
on.
destruction that wastes at noonday. I want you to
See,
think how powerful that scripture
see.
is. If
And
you don't
I've
know the
got
Lord,
one.
well, maybe this is a time for you to get close to God so he can draw near to you and hide you up under that wing.
Come on.
I mean, I just want you to picture that. I am safe in the arms of God.
Yes.
Okay?
And I've
And then
got one for you.
yes.
Second Timothy 1 and
Woo,
7.
I
I
love that.
can't say it
I
enough.
can't either. For
For
God.
God did not give us a
Spirit,
spirit of fear.
but of
So when fear enters the picture, you know that this is not of God. What he did give us is power,
power, love.
love, and a
Yes.
sound mind. A sound mind. You
Yes.
don't need to be gaslit. Okay. You don't need to be traumatized. You
Yes.
don't need to walk around depressed because these things are not of God.
They're not. They're not.
They're not of
They're
God.
not. They're not.
Yes.
And
So
this
do
is
not receive them.
yes. This is
Yeah.
so important. Thank you for that. That's one of my
Yeah.
things when
Yes.
people anxiety causes fear. Okay.
Yes.
So your
Yes.
anxiety starts right here. That thought comes in and you catastrophize it. You make it
Yes.
mountainous, it spreads.
Triggers.
And
Triggers.
yes, those triggers. So that is important. On next week, we'll be doing this again next Friday or Saturday, and we're going to really get into the causes.
Okay.
Remember, don't judge. You have not been in that situation. And I know you say, well, you know
Yes.
what? I would leave and this and that. Don't judge. You haven't
Okay.
walked a mile in those shoes.
Shoes.
Once you've walked a mile in those shoes, guess what? You change. You change your thought. You know what? I didn't know what I
Yes.
was thinking. No, you didn't, because you weren't thinking then. You couldn't think. So
See.
these are the things we're going to get into more next week. So, the causes and different things that come associated more into the mental health aspects of it, the anxiety, the
Yes.
depression, and the trauma. And today I want to
The
leave you
shame.
with
The
the
shame. The
shame, the guilt.
guilt.
Yes. I want to leave you
Yes.
with two numbers today, and it's very, very important. And there is a national domestic violence hotline. And I know,
Yes, ma'am.
Ruth, I know you know this number. It is 800-799-SAFE.
Safe.
The word safe.
The
800
word safe.
799, the word
Safe.
safe. And then if you want to give them the text, Ruth, if you have it there, the text that they can text to, because this is the
Yes.
era of texting.
Yes. That is 1-800-787-3224. And I also have 800 numbers that you can dial from wherever. And that is from 1-800-500-1119.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruth. And then you can
Yes.
also
Yes.
text the word start. The word start,
Right. That's right.
START, to
Right.
88788. Again, text the word start, and
Right.
you're going to text it to the number 88788. Double eight
Yes.
788. Make it into a song so you can remember it. 88788. What was Prince had a song, 2811, or what? I can't remember it at this moment, but you know what? If you remember that 88788, I want you to remember
Yes.
that you might have a friend
88788.
that needs that information right now. We're going to be back here. You know what? I need you to subscribe to If You Don't Mind. If you don't mind, we're going to be doing a lot of things on this channel to help you mind, body, spirit. And that's what it's
Yes.
all about. Mind,
Yes.
body, and spirit. So
Yes.
until next week, I want to thank my sister Ruth so much for her expertise and for her time,
Yes.
because she can walk you through. She knows
Yes, I will.
exactly what
Yes,
to
I will.
tell you to do. So reach out to us, subscribe to the channel, and you know what? If you don't mind, we'll see you next week. Have a good week.
Thank you, Lynn.